You ever look at somebody in, say, middle management or upper management, maybe at these levels, and wonder how the hell somebody so incompetent can make it that high? Well, found out why that happens, and I'm going to be sharing that with y'all. All right, let's do this. Presidente. Alrighty, welcome back, people. Today we may step on some toes, and that's okay. We're going to talk about incompetence. We're going to talk about what happens when people get promoted into their highest level of incompetence. We're talking about in a hierarchy. And to help us with that, it's called the Peter Principle by Dr. Lawrence J. Peter and Raymond Hall. It was written in 1969. Okay, it's a very forward-looking book, and it gives some examples, and I'm going to give some examples, and then I'm going to tell you how technology and policy that has progressed since 1969. Of course, technology has blown up, leaps and bounds since then, but combined with policy, how instead of weeding out a lot of that incompetence, actually helps us reach those levels of incompetence a lot quicker. You have noticed everybody has been in a situation where somebody in their middle management or upper management or regional or administration is just this person that is barely getting by. They're incompetent in their duties, but they're doing just enough that they're not getting fired. But we'll touch up on that in a moment as far as the whole firing thing goes. So usually they have to be covered by somebody that is competent, but is actually in a lower position than they are. Something that happens a lot is that they will have other side duties, and they may be good at that. A good example, say you are in charge of budget, and you have an additional duty to be the safety person within your section or your company or whatnot. So the person that's incompetent in budgeting takes that safety and is really good at safety, and so blows it up, right? So it expands that, makes it seem a lot more important than it really is, to try to help cover for the fact that their budgeting skills are lacking. They're incompetent in that. So what ends up happening is that somebody, under them or whatnot, that has those skills, that is competent in budgeting, is going to end up taking over. Or what happens a lot is that in companies, they will hire somebody else to come in and help with the budgeting. So these people that are coming in, they're hired and are competent in that level. But the problem is, if they get promoted, say they came in and they're doing budgeting fantastic, right? They're doing at that level, say that they have one division of it. Well, they say, well, this guy's doing so good at that, that section. Let's promote him up into, to oversee the whole thing. Well, maybe he doesn't have the scope or of skills to be able to handle that many people or that size of it. So he gets to that point, he gets promoted, but it stops. He doesn't go any higher, and that is the highest level of incompetence. And again, it takes a lot to end up firing the person. They'll just retire out of it, and then somebody else will come in and take the place. If it's somebody that's being promoted up into there because you're hiring from within, you may get another incompetent person in your middle management or in your upper management. So the core of workers will usually be pretty good. They'll be pretty competent because why? There are some measures like probation period, right, that will help weed that out, that they'll discover who's incompetent, who lied on their resume, that type of thing, and they're gone. But people that have been there for a while and start getting promoted into these levels, they don't do so good, right? Or they'll reach a spot, and that's as far as they're going to go. So that means there are levels above. You're just not going to get there because you've already reached the level of incompetence, right? Your highest level of incompetence, which means you're not going to get promoted from there, right? So an example is, say, Miss Daisy is an excellent teacher with kids. She's been working with kids for a long time. She has some of the best records as far as grades and in competitions and things like that with the kids. She's fantastic with the kids. Well, they're looking to hire somebody, and they look at Miss Daisy and go, man, she is wonderful. She's done all these things. Let's promote her. Let's bring her up into the management side of the school. Well, maybe Miss Daisy is really good at talking with kids, but now say she's in a setting where she has to talk to adults. She's part of a board, or she's part of, whatever. She has to deal with adults, but she doesn't have the skills to talk to adults. So she's treating them like kids. She's talking down to them. And while it's not her intent, she sounds condescending because she's talking to adults as if she were talking to kids, and so it doesn't really work out. Or does she get sent back to being a teacher? Does she stay in that position? Sometimes she'll stay in that position, but then they'll just move her where she doesn't have that interaction with the people, and then she'll stay in that position until she retires or whatever, and then they'll bring somebody else in to help cover for those skills that she was lacking, to try to fill that in. So looking at a micro example of this. Micro example is a family business. Dad, son, foreman, few work crews. Dad built the business from scratch. He has those interpersonal skills. He likes talking. He knows how to go out and talk to clients. He's very personable. He knows that human touch is very important for his clients. So anytime there's something wrong, he doesn't send a text. He doesn't send an email. He doesn't call. Most of the time, he'll go right out there in person and talk to his clients and say, hey, what happened? What's going on? Is there anything we can do to fix this? And so, he's built that up based on that. So he's a very, very successful business. Well, the son is really good at what he's doing at his level. He's dad's assistant, and he'll go and get whatever dad needs. He's good at going to get stuff. Dad decides one day he wants to retire. So he's going to pass that business on down to his son, and he's going to go down to Bahamas and retire. Well, his son, different generation, different skills, different skill sets. Maybe he can still find what he needs to do to make the company run, except he does not have those interpersonal skills. So instead of going out and visiting a client that's having some issues, he'll send them a text or send them an email. And so that human touch is being lost, where these old clients, these accounts that have been around for a long time, that made the business what they are, starts going, what's going on over here? How come, and he starts losing clients. He starts losing accounts and not sure why. And that's part of the problem. It's like, well, I'm doing what I need to do. Well, that's what they believe, but he's incompetent in it. He does not have the level of competence that his dad had to be able to run that business. So what's going to end up happening is either business gets run into the ground or he ends up selling it. That's an example. A lot of the times, the problem is that people don't have the self-awareness to look at the position where they're in and reject that promotion. Okay, whether it's a matter of pride or whether it's a matter of money or whatever. A lot of times the opportunity for them to be promoted is there, and they will get promoted, but they won't have the self-awareness to go, I'm not cut out for that position, you know. And so they'll end up getting promoted into an incompetent position or an incompetent level of work for themselves. Others may have already reached, you don't know it, but many have already reached their level of incompetence. And those are the ones that are complaining, well, I'm not getting promoted. How come I'm not getting promoted? You know, I've been here for so many years. I'm not getting, well, maybe they're incompetent at what they do. So another good example is somebody that is a very good motivator, that's down with the people working, and you know, has again those skills, or is very smart in what they're doing as far as a product. Maybe they're a sales rep for a large company, and they're really good at knowing what the customers like. So he brings in all these customers. Well, say he gets promoted somewhere where he doesn't have that contact anymore. Now he's pushing paper, which he hates. He wanted to be out there, and well, guess what? He doesn't like it. He's not good at it, and now he's stuck there, and he's not going to do well because he's reached his highest level of incompetence. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the advances in technology and then policy, how it affects people reaching their level of incompetence. And then I'm just going to read a couple of the passages from this book, and we'll wrap it up. So we talk about, you know, computers making everything faster and efficient, and part of it is being able to do metrics. So by doing metrics, you can pinpoint areas of your company or whatnot that are not doing so good or that need improvement. And also you come out with aptitude tests, which are on the computer as well. So you're gathering all this data, and you have efficiency surveys, for example. Part of the problem with some of that is that the consultants getting paid is dependent on them finding something, right? So if you're an inspector and you're getting paid to inspect and find something, but you don't find anything wrong, then they'll be like, well, what do we need the inspector for? What do we need the consultant for? So efficiency survey, let me read this one to you. Let's go with this case. So it says the efficiency survey file, case number 8. This is on page 85 of Peter Principle. It said, Bulkley Cold Store and Transfer Limited hired Speedwell and Trimmer management consultants to survey its operation. Speedwell and Trimmer found that the Bulkley organization was no more inefficient than most firms in the same line of business. By discreet questioning, they discovered the real reason why the survey had been ordered. Several directors felt that they could not sufficiently influence the firm's policy. So what could Speedwell and Trimmer do? Suppose they said, gentlemen, there is not much wrong with your firm. You are as efficient as your competitors. There is good reason to believe that Speedwell and Trimmer feared dismissal in such an instance. Basically, they'll get rid of them and say, we don't need you. They may feel they would get the reputation of being inefficient management experts because they didn't find anything. They would see the Bulkley survey taken over by a rival firm. Under this emotional stress, they felt obliged to say, gentlemen, you are understaffed, and many of your existing employees are wrongly placed. We recommend the creation of certain new posts, new positions, and the promotion of a number of your employees. Once the organization was thoroughly stirred up, the dissident directors could place or promote proteges just as they wished, thereby strengthening their influence at various levels in various departments of the hierarchy. The board was satisfied, and Speedwell and Trimmer received their fee. Look at government. See how that story will fit into some of governmental positions and anywhere that's related to state or federal. So now let's look at some of the policy, making it even harder to get rid of inefficient or incompetent employees is the policy of, for example, diversity hires. I know, touchy subject. So what happens? A company or a division finds out that their middle manager is incompetent, is inefficient at what they do. They're incompetent, and they're actually doing damage to the business rather than helping it out. Person has been there, who knows, maybe 8, 9 years, 10 years, right? And they got promoted into that middle management, but now they suck. But maybe they're a minority. Pick one. And so the company or the division is going to be like, whoa, if we fire this person, they're going to say it's because of their race or their gender or because of this or because of that. So they're not going to go with that. They're going to keep that position there. What they're going to do is they'll hire or promote a second person to go in there and actually do the job that they're supposed to be doing while keeping this dead weight or moving them somewhere, maybe a lateral somewhere that this person can do less damage in, right? So they don't want to, I mean, they'll do that with any other person also, but they might fire another person, you know. And back in the day, they might have done that. But now, lawsuits are too easy. Lawsuits are too easy, and it doesn't matter if they can prove later that they were just incompetent. Well, it's a black eye on the company because they had a lawsuit against them. They end up settling or doing whatever, and it's really not worth it to the company to do so. So they just kind of push the person to the side and hire somebody else to take care of that. Okay, so that was just an example. Now, this book is small. It's not very long. It's about 160, 170 pages. But it is full of examples, full of a lot. I just touched very, very lightly on this. And I recommend it if you're in any institution, any government agency, if you're in a large company. It's a good book. Again, it's called The Peter Principle, Why Things Always Go Wrong, by Dr. Lawrence Peter and Raymond Hall. And very forward-looking book, 1969. So things already were at a high level of incompetence at the time, and with, like they say, with an expanding number of responsibilities, the more impact, of course, your incompetence is going to have on the company or on the institution. So the more responsibilities you have, the more you can jack them up. Okay, so again, I think what happens many times is that they will try to minimize the damage that this incompetent person is doing, or they'll deal with it, but other people are having to do the work. And like I said before, you have a core group of people at the bottom, which are the workers, which are really keeping things going as far as making a product or running the floor, so to speak. But as things start getting promoted, now that's not to say all middle managers, not to say all upper. There's some good middle managers, there's some good upper managers, there's some good CEOs. They just not have reached their level of incompetence yet. Okay, so chances are the CEO is great at his company. What was that? So say that they bring in somebody else that was fantastic at this other company, a CEO of an HR company, and now they've brought him into the market, be the CEO of the marketing or the director of marketing for this company, right? And totally face plant on it because they have no idea what it is. It was a promotion for them. It was more money for them or whatnot. So anyway, that was the video for today. I know it got a little long-winded, but it's really a good book, and I do recommend it. You will get some insight on it, and hopefully some insight for yourself too, some self-awareness of where you are, right? Do you really want that promotion? Are you capable of doing what is expected of you if you do get promoted? And if you are, then you can get promoted and you'll do okay there. You haven't reached the highest level of incompetence yet, but people can go very, very high, and very, very high until they reach that, or before they reach that level of incompetence. I mean, look at our government. All right, that is it. Bye.